was thinking that whether you create a vision board or not, you have a vision board, because what I think is great about yours, Jocelyn, is the subconscious power of those pictures that you chose to put on that board. And when we think about all the things that we put in our environment, that we surround ourselves with, that are, maybe things that we leave out on the table, like, a bill or, something that doesn't bring good energy. And then that somehow manifests into more of that negative energy, right? Or the contrary, we might leave something nice out. Maybe even it's just a postcard of a place that we like. It doesn't have to be a full vision board, right? And all of a sudden we're there on vacation. Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. Happy New Year. Although I think we're a couple episodes already into the new year, but we're like getting close to the new year as the time of recording this. As always, my name is Matt Pinelli. He is Garrett Frey. And if you haven't yet completed your business plan, do go to 10tenths.co/GPS and check that out. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Garrett, who has a special guest with him that he needs to introduce and whom we're going to have a great conversation with today.
Matt, well, again, a happy New Year to everybody. And I am grateful. I am so grateful that I have my wonderful daughter, Jocelyn, here with me today, with us. And we're going to have some fun. We had a conversation come up over the holidays, and we were sitting around talking as a family, looking back at the year, and we decided, one, that Jocelyn is a manifester. She manifests everything that she wants in her life. It shows up around her. But then we're talking about the tools that she has that she manifests stuff. So Jocelyn, good morning. I'm so happy you're here with us.
Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for joining us, Jocelyn. This is awesome.
No, I'm actually kind of excited. I've always wanted to be on the podcast.
It's official now. It's
so
official.
I'm here now.
Well, we'll have some fun, and again, this led into this because we have done vision boards in our household for many years. Matt, you and I have talked about my kind of household tradition over vision boards over the years, and my wife many years back sat down and said, we're doing these with the kids. Like, we're going to start this tradition in the household. And we've been pretty good every single year. There's been a couple years that we've missed. It's just life happens, and all of a sudden you blink and you're done, and it's like, oh crap, we didn't get the vision boards done. But it's fun to watch because as the kids have gotten older, they've taken it upon themselves to do their vision boards, and it kind of turns into things. So Jocelyn, like, tell me just share with everybody a little bit your background on like vision boards and kind of like how they've been in your world. Okay,
I started making them when I don't even know how little.
You're young.
I've made them every single year, and I didn't know what I was doing when I first started doing them because my parents just told me to make a vision board, and I was like, okay, and it was a family activity we did, and that was about it, and all I saw it as for the longest time. And then as I got older, my parents had saved them, and I went back and looked at them, and it turns out that they kind of work a little bit.
Look at that. That's pretty
and
great.
Some of the ones from when I'm younger literally have all become like reality, which is kind of crazy because like I didn't know what I was doing when I was little. And I mean, you have like little ability to like make those things become true when you're that young. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I would like tell us about like how do you approach your vision board, Jocelyn? Like, from when you were young, like what's evolved in your process and your thinking? How do you decide what goes on your vision board?
I write down like on a piece of paper, just like things like goals I want for myself, and then like things I want to do, places I want to go, and like a list of them. And then I'll just go look up pictures, like random pictures of like something that symbolizes it to me. It doesn't have to make sense to someone else, but as long as it makes sense to me. And then I print them out and I put them on the board. And then I put the board somewhere where I can see it all the time. Because apparently that has something to do with it.
Where do you hang your board? Where do you put it?
Mine is actually in my bathroom.
Yeah.
Because I have to go in there every single day.
That's true. Yeah,
so I just leave it. It's like writing stuff on your mirror. I just leave it in my bathroom.
So what led to this, Matt, and you were talking about the process, what was crazy about this is one of Jocelyn's, I think what started this all was last year, travel was kind of like her thing. She goes, I want to travel more. I want to see places. we traveled a lot with them when they were younger, and as she's gotten older, she's like, I'm gonna go do this. So we're gonna post. I'm gonna share a picture of this board. We'll make sure it gets cropped in so you guys can kind of see what it looks like on here. But there are pictures that she went and started gathering. You know, again, not knowing where she wanted to travel. And this is where I think as we get older, as we become adults, we start going, is that realistic? I don't know if that's really where I want to go. Or if I put that up there, I don't know. Maybe that's not really where I want to travel to. Jocelyn approached this as she looked up traveling, and then pictures started coming up, and she goes, yeah, I like that one. Yep, that's cool. But not knowing the names or where they were at, just started gathering cool photos.
I like knew like certain countries I wanted to go to and stuff, so I looked up the country, but like I did not know. Even when I traveled, I didn't know where I was going most of the time. I kind of just decided as I was like going. So I did zero research on anything. And I just kind of picked places that looked pretty in like each like country that I like, kind of wanted to go to.
And you ended up actually visiting the places that are
one
on
of
the
them's
vision board.
really weird because it's like a place that like no one knows.
So talk about this one right here.
There's a place in Switzerland, and well, it's the Oberlander Alps, I think is how you say it. And it's really pretty. It's like a lot of people know of the Alps. And like it's like Grindelwald and like Lauterbrunnen and all those places and stuff, which I knew of those places as I started planning my trip. But I wanted to stay in this little like town with like no cars. This is the only part of my trip too that I actually fully planned before I went. I want to stay in this little town with like no cars and stuff. I thought that was so cool that they had those. So I looked up different towns. Also, like when I travel, I like to like go somewhere that's like a little bit more secluded and less like touristy. I just feel safer for some reason. But I found this little teeny town up in the mountains, and I was like, okay, I want to go there. And it was like, you could hike everywhere. Like I could hike to like Lauterbrunnen, or I can like, what are those things called?
The Alps?
Things that fly.
Oh, the gondolas?
Yes, I could take one of those to Grindelwald. Like, it was really easy to access everything. So I was like, okay, I'll just go there. And it was this little town called Wengen, which is like in the middle, like on like a shelf in the mountains. Like, you can't see it from anywhere. No one knows about it. And I ended up there, and then I came back and looked at my vision board, and it's the picture I chose.
Like...
I don't
That's
know
amazing.
how that really happened because, like, again, it's a place that, like, no one really knows. Like, even, like, my friends who have been there, I'm like, oh, I'm staying here. And they're like, yeah, we've never heard of it.
So what's fun, Matt, is so this board has been up on her wall. It's been in her bathroom, and it was a handful of months back, there was this moment that she was like, I want to go travel to Europe. She has a friend that was in Europe that said, hey, I'm going to school here right now. Would you want to come out and visit for just a little bit? And then Jocelyn's like, well, I'm then going to solo travel for, a couple weeks. And what ended up happening is Sarah and her sat at the table, and they just started picking places, and Jocelyn started researching, and they just started mapping out this trip, not around the vision board.
I low-key kind of forgot this vision. I mean, like, it was still in my bathroom. I saw it every single day, but I kind of forgot it existed. Because
you're not paying attention with detail. If you look at it every day, you're not with detail necessarily.
It's not on my to-do list, like, look at vision board.
Right.
And Matt, I think that's what's so cool about a really good vision board is that, you get a chance to do some research for yourself. What's important to you? What do we want to be focusing on? What do you want 2026 to be, or for this case, 2025? And then this thing just sits around you in your awareness. It's in your line of sight. You're bouncing into it every single day, whether you're choosing to really focus on it or not. And potentially this picture of Wengen kept getting into Jocelyn's head. And then when you're planning this trip and all of a sudden you see a picture that comes up, your brain non-consciously goes, that feels right.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. And I think that that's the power of a vision board is that you don't quite always know how it's creating these things or why you're getting attracted to these things, but all of a sudden they start showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's before we were recording, I was thinking about, because you texted me, you're like, hey, we got to have Jocelyn on because this vision board of hers is just wild. Right. And I was thinking about, I haven't looked at my vision board in a while. I created a digital one this year, and I had it on my backdrop. And then restarted my computer at some point and never opened it back up again. But I was thinking that whether you create a vision board or not, you kind of are, you have a vision board. Because what I think is great about yours, Jocelyn, is the subconscious power of those pictures that you chose to put on that board. And when we think about all the things that we put in our environment, that we surround ourselves with, that are, maybe things that we leave out on the table, like, a bill or, something that doesn't bring good energy. And then that somehow manifests into more of that negative energy, right? Or the contrary, we might leave something nice out. Maybe even it's just a postcard of a place that we like. It doesn't have to be a full vision board, right? And all of a sudden we're there on vacation, which is pretty crazy. And so I think one of the things that I was just even taking away from this before we even got on to record this is I was like, wow, that's so cool, of just the power of just the things that are around you, which I think is amazing. But Jocelyn, you've been doing this now for, well, I mean, arguably almost your whole life that you remember. Right. And so what are some of the kind of like positive side effects that you've seen just from the act of creating a vision board, let's say, just sitting down and thinking about the things that you want to kind of bring into your world over the next year, or maybe it's beyond that too. Maybe it's not just like a year time limit on there.
I feel like it kind of just opens your eyes to like possibilities, because you'll have so many people tell you like the things that you want to do are not possible, just because of like the stage in life that we're in and all of that stuff, and like money and all of it. They're just like, you can't do that, that's not possible, that's crazy. But I'm like, I feel like anything's possible as long as you put your mind to it. And if you're looking at it every single day and you're reminded of it every single day, you'll find a way to make it happen at some point.
Well, so I found this interesting too with watching Jocelyn with planning it, because obviously she built into her mind this whole idea of traveling, this whole idea of like, she has yoga on her board. She has, healthy skin, healthy hair, the healthy food she puts into her body. And it doesn't surprise me that when Jocelyn's traveling or somewhere, the number one complaint that I have is like, I can't find the food I like to eat. I can't find the vegetables. But it's in her awareness all the time. And I think that, where was I going to with this? I think that you have an overall picture of who you want to be. Oh, I know where I was going with this. It's interesting to watch when you build your world like this, the limiting beliefs that will come out of other people, as Jocelyn just mentioned. You said, people will tell you, they will share with you what they think is possible. And she would come home when planning the trip, going to like Europe, and people were saying like, are you sure this is a good idea? Have you thought this all out?
Everyone literally was like, this isn't safe. Like, you shouldn't do this. Like, you should wait for a different time in your life. And I'm like, when am I gonna wait? Like, I didn't have a job. I didn't have any significant other. I had nothing like that. And I was like, this is the perfect time. I have zero commitment to anything and anyone. Why don't I just go right now? And like, what's going to be better in 10 years?
And you saved up a ton of money. Like, that was the interesting thing too. Like, no job, but she had saved up a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you don't have money and you have a want and a will, you will make money somehow, because I somehow did it without a job.
Yeah. Or somehow things will like happen. I mean, we've heard stories of people who want to, do something and they're like, well, I need the money to do it. Then all of a sudden they win that trip, or they win the car or something on some random giveaway. Right.
Or like, Ted Bash with the Cinque Terre Trail in Italy.
Yeah.
That was on his board, and all of a sudden a friend calls and say, hey, we just had somebody cancel out of the plans. We've got the trip. We've got it all planned. You just need to show up with your bags. Yeah. You just never know.
Yeah. You never know, which is, I think. So I love how you said there, Jocelyn, that like it also creates some weird energy in other people where they're like, oh, you can't. So like you're busting through your limiting beliefs just by creating a vision board in the first place, right? What are kind of some of the core elements of your process in vision boarding? Like, do you do one at a specific time every year? Does it need to be a specific size? Do you need to do it a certain way? Are there certain sections or things that you want to have on there, or do you just kind of make it up on your feel? And there is that board. Hold it up in front of the camera so that people can see. There,
we'll put it right in front of us for a second.
Yeah,
there we go.
I love it. That looks great.
All right, put this back over here.
I'm trying to think. I do it normally at the end of the year, because I feel like there's like that week between Christmas and New Year's they're like, it's like weird. Nothing's like everyone's traveling, no one's home. Like, I don't know. It's just like a weird week. I feel like it's a perfect week to create a vision board.
Now you'd mentioned you make a list, which I've always said this for years, is to make a life list first. Like build your life list, and then is that kind of how you do it? And how do you approach your life list?
I just kind of like, I don't know, the things that are important to me at the time and the things that I want to see for myself in the future. Because I just feel like so many people limit their life recently. Like a lot of people I'm around, and like people just like constantly, the amount of people who tell me that things aren't possible is honestly insane. Like when I went to move to Hawaii, I had people coming up to me, and they like people I didn't even know, and they're like, we'll see you back here in 6 months. Like you're going to get island fever. Like this is the stupidest thing you could be doing. And I'm like, okay, like, not your life, my life, but
Yeah, right.
that's okay. But I just feel like you have to create a list of things that like you want, and even if it seems impossible or crazy, I feel like it's nice to write it down, because then you won't forget. Like you'll be reminded that like it's not impossible and it's not crazy, and like you can do it. And then I just pick out my pictures.
So you don't limit it to like a year. You're not like, oh, these are things that I have to do or
No, 'cause
experience in the next year.
some of these things are like a work in progress. So, I mean, I guess you could limit it to a year, but like, I mean, some things are going to take longer than a year.
Yeah.
And I like that you said that, Jay, because I think so many people look at like the things I put on my board, I either passed or failed on. I either accomplished it or I failed at accomplishing it. And I've always approached the board, maybe you do it because of me and mom, is that like it is the prediction of the future is what you're putting out there, and you're working towards becoming this person doing these things, and you need to take away that I passed or failed on it. And it's much more fun just to be like, oh, look at the things I accomplished. What are the things I want to keep up on the board still? What are new pictures I want to put up, and kind of have it evolve?
Because I have like real estate, like getting my license on there. And I finished all my schooling for California and all of that stuff. I took the test once. It didn't pass. But I continued to study. But then after Europe, I decided that I was going to move out of California for a little bit. So I don't have any reason to be getting my real estate license in California right now. So
But you're
I'm
still
gonna get
pursuing it.
I know, I'm gonna go back into have to redo my schooling, but it's easier than California.
In Hawaii.
Hallelujah.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing too, is like your vision board isn't a must-do list either.
No.
It is at the time of creation, these visions of things that you want to bring into your life, and those things can change, right? I mean, it's not like, hey, all of these things must happen in this time frame, and sometimes it could even be a symbol for something else. You know, who knows? And I think I've seen things on people's vision boards and my own vision boards where I'm like, oh, it's going to be this exact thing. And I know when we talk vision boards, that's what a lot of people like to hear about, are the exact things, but sometimes they become a symbol for something else. Maybe, the car that's on there is actually a symbol for an experience that you want to have with cars, let's say, or I'm not saying the real estate license is that thing, but I like how and I think it's important for people to hear, like, don't limit your vision board onto like what's realistic, right? What we can get done in 1 year, because it's there to push your limits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about Vengan. That was one of the ones that was on there. What are the other ones that are on your board that, because we talked about the bank account in there. And so it's funny. She's like, well, that money's not currently in my bank account. It was.
Not anymore.
So it happens when you solo travel through Europe. You just spend that.
I put Venice on there, which is just somewhere I've always wanted to go. But the funny part about it is when I was going to Europe, it wasn't the place that I didn't think I would end up there. I started in Amsterdam. Then I went into Germany. Then I went into Switzerland. And my friend was going to meet, because he could only meet up on the weekend. So he was going to meet up with me the next weekend, because we went to Germany together. And then we were going to meet up the next week, and we couldn't decide where to go. And then he was randomly looking, and he was like, how about Venice? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there. It's so perfect. He goes, I don't even know what that is. He had no idea what Venice was. He was just listing off names. I don't know how he didn't know what it was, because I was like, okay. But I ended up getting to go there, so that was really cool. And then I have and Italy's also on there. But I mean, I just went to like Rome and Venice
Well,
because I didn't have very much time.
It's interesting because Greece is on your board, which she almost went to. Like there was a moment where they were like, what if we did this? You could have very easily ended up in Greece, which I think would have checked almost all the places off your board.
I could have ended up in Greece, but I didn't end up ending up in Greece. But I could have. So that could have happened too. And then I also put Honolulu on there, which is funny because I ended up moving back to Honolulu. So,
which was a stretch. I think when you built your board, that was not, you loved Honolulu. You knew that you spend a lot of time traveling back and forth there, but being like formally living there, I don't know, I
didn't know if it was the right thing at the time. Like I knew I didn't want to be where I was for the rest of my year or the next year to come. I just didn't know where I wanted to go, but like that just made sense to me. Well, it seemed easy because I had already moved there. And then also just because I had a whole bunch of friends there and stuff. And it just like, I don't know, it made sense. And I was always traveling there. Always. I went like 3 or 4 times a year. So I'm like, okay, I should just move for a little bit. So why not?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So Matt, I think so one of our Sarah and I, we call Jocelyn the manifester. She manifests money. She manifests travel. She manifests the things that she wants to have in her life. I've never seen anybody create things out of thin air that all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to go do this. And everybody goes, what do you mean you're going to go do that? And a lot of it she just creates. And I think that, looking at our ability to create, I think, all of us, Matt, you and I know all of us have this innate ability inside of us, but there are so many great tools around us because while all my kids are great creators, Jocelyn's the only one that I know that has her board up and visible and around her all the time. And there's a reason that we're sitting here having her on the podcast right now because other kids have things they want to go do, but to have a moment where you can step back and be like, we checked it all off. Like it all happened here. I just want everybody out there, like, don't take that lightly as you're going into 2026 right now. If you haven't created a board for yourself, Matt, you make the joke, or you've said it many times, is that we all have a board or visions or things we focus on, whether we like it or not. It's just whether we want to be intentional about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, all the things, your environment, we talk about environment as a very important thing, which it's funny, sitting in my office, one of the things I'm supposed to do over this holiday break is clean my office because it's not in the state that it could be for more productivity and things like that. But all the little things that are around you, even if it's not necessarily something that carries negative energy or even positive energy, but how it interacts with you, because we all are different. Like some people are okay with having some disorganized stuff around, right? And some people are not. And you need to figure out who are you in those things so that you can be intentional about your space, about the things that you want to focus on. And that's where the vision board, I think, really helps, because you get to be intentional about, like, even if it's just one thing. Like some people are like, well, I need to put all this stuff on there. Because Garrett, we see it all the time with the life list. We saw it when we were doing our business planning. People get stuck. They're like, I don't know what I should put on here. And it's like, just sit and listen and just wait for things to come to you. And even if it's just one thing.
I don't think you can think too much about it. You just got to put stuff on it. Because the sooner you start thinking about it, you just are like, oh no, I can't do that. No,
that's a good point. You have to like unblock your own, blockages of thinking and just be like, just do.
There's an element of letting go. And I think that's the coolest part about, how Jocelyn approached this board and why it's so powerful is that you let go. Like you were like, I could sit here and overanalyze all the cities I want to travel to and all the places I want to see. But you really went on and just started picking pictures that you were like, I like that. I like the look of that. I like the feel of that. That seems right. And just started gathering stuff. I'm surprised the pyramids weren't on your...
That wasn't a one at the time.
It's not a one at the time. That'll probably be on future boards. But I think that letting go piece is so powerful. And Matt, you and I have talked about how, that subconscious brain comes in and starts, analyzing what is reality, and is that a realistic thing? And I think we touched on it a little bit, but you got to be really careful who you also share these boards with. I've said that many, many, many times, because the reality that comes out of, her friends, mainly her friends' parents, when she says, I'm going to go do this, and they're like, I don't think this is a good idea. like that could easily deter somebody so quickly and take that power out of them, where sometimes it's best just to have your own board, have your own thing, keep it in your bathroom by yourself, and just be like, this is my stuff, this is where I'm going. Because other people's realities usually won't help you get to where you want to go.
My new rule, which is kind of sad, but I don't share my goals with people because it's like
Except
they
for the
literally
thousands of people who are listening and watching.
right now.
Well, yeah, but
other
now,
than
these
that.
are completed, so it's okay. But like normally, like if there's something I'm really working towards, I won't share it because the people for some reason feel the need to tell you all the reasons why you can't do it or why you shouldn't do it, which I just think
Yeah.
is just because you have a closed mindset and you're not willing to do it for yourself doesn't mean that I'm not willing to do it for myself. And I just think that we should all have maybe a little bit more of an open mind when it comes to those things. 'Cause
It's interesting, Jocelyn, because there's a lot of books out there that say if you want to accomplish goals, share them with people and, put them out there and have them be
I mean, you should, but there's the right people and there's the wrong people, and you shouldn't share them with every single person you meet.
I also think the bigger you dream, the more resistance you're going to have potentially from people around you, which means your groups of people that you can share those goals and those big dreams with become smaller and smaller and smaller, because the handful of people that's going to be able to dream with you and go like, I can see it. The bigger you dream, you limit that pool down. So there is a place there that I think it's not a bad thing to be like, these are mine. This is mine, and I'm going to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that highlights people in your world, right? And we've talked about like who you surround yourself with matters. And I think it's, if you can't share it with anyone, then we got to start to ask ourselves, who am I surrounding myself
That's
with?
one thing that this year showed me so much about was like the people in my life and who I've kept in my life for so long, and like how they actually like look at me and like the things that I want to do, and like I don't know, it's just very interesting to see people see you doing well and have them be upset that you're doing well or that you're doing things that they want to do and they can't be happy for you.
So there is a great story though out of this that I did not talk to Jocelyn about before we started recording today, but talking about surrounding yourself with the right people, to share with everybody real quick and share with Matt, the person that you met now that's in Hawaii that's always wanted to solo travel, and after talking to you, all of a sudden her mind is opening up.
I met this girl on the beach. She was so nice. She was so sweet, and we started talking, and she was like, well, like, what brought you here? Because I just feel like everyone in Hawaii, especially if you're like my age, didn't live there before, is just there for fun. She ended up doing like a semester or something, like away from her school, and then like moved to Hawaii for like a semester. And she was like, I was like, oh, like I just got done solo traveling and then I decided to move here. And she goes, oh my gosh, like I've always wanted to do that and I've never heard of someone doing it. I looked at her, I was like, trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. I was like, it's not that bad. I was like, it's a little scary in the beginning, but like it is one of the best things I've ever done. And I was like, I will be doing it again. And she just was like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. And then I saw her like a week later, like we went to a different beach together, and she goes, I've planned a whole trip. And I was like, what do you mean you've planned a whole trip? She has this, it sounds pretty cool. It's an extravagant trip though, but she's going so many different places. She's like, has like flights figured out, train rides figured out, places, like all the places she wants to stay figured out, things she wants to do in each place figured out, like everything. She's like, thank you so much for telling me about this because I would never have had the courage to do it if you didn't talk about it with me.
Wow. That is so cool.
The power,
so cool.
The power of who you surround yourself with is amazing. And when Jocelyn was sharing that with me, it's like, here she took something that was very scary to her, going back 6 months ago, trying to figure this out. There was many moments where I saw Jocelyn go, maybe this is a dumb idea. What are we doing? But then she has her a mind opened up to it and then gets to bump into somebody, a complete stranger, who I have a feeling you guys are going to be friends for a while, because when you find people that you can share, you can help grow together like that, those I find are some of the best friends you'll make in your life. And then to watch somebody take the reins of it that fast, Matt, and be like, oh, here, I've got it all planned. I've done it.
It was crazy. It literally was like, it was like a week later, and I saw her, and she was like, I have it planned out. And we spent our whole 45-minute drive driving to the other side of the island of her talking about all of the places she was going to go.
I mean, that's the how quickly things can happen in your life too. A lot of and that's the power of opening up your mind, right? And a vision board is a key tool in that, because if you stay closed minded, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, you can't, I can't, that'll never happen, then you're right, it will never happen. Right?
That
So having an open mind, it's amazing how fast it can go from I didn't think that was possible to a week later saying I have my entire European trip now planned and I'm leaving. Like it's already booked. That's crazy.
That was one of the crazy things about when I think that was one of the things that really got people like a little riled up, is because I literally decided to go on my Europe trip probably like 3 weeks before I left. So shorter time than I was actually gone. And then same thing with Hawaii. I came back and I literally was back in town for a week and a half, and I told everyone I'm leaving. I found a roommate on Facebook who ended up being the most amazing roommate I could ever have asked for. Everyone was like, you found a roommate on Facebook? I was like, yes. She's literally the perfect roommate.
Much better than Craigslist when that's how we had to find roommates back in the day.
Around the same thing. But she was super nice. I like moved and I was couch surfing. I didn't have anywhere to live. I didn't have an apartment. I just couch surfed on my friends' couches for like 2 weeks. But I made that decision to move in like a week and a half. Like I came home and I was like, okay, I'm moving. So
cool.
Manifesting. I'm just telling you, like, this is a manifesting kid here. She figures out what she wants to do and then just goes and creates it. She's always done it. But again, for me, it's been such an awesome thing to watch her, because again, I always remind myself, we all have this ability, whether we choose to own the power or use it for good. That's a totally different thing.
Well, I think it highlights too that like when you create these visions, sometimes we think these things are really far out of our reach, and they're there. Sometimes you just need to acknowledge that it's there and take action. I mean, Jocelyn, how swift you went from, I think I'm going to go on a Euro trip to, I think I'm going to move to Hawaii, and then it being done. Sometimes we also just need to take action. A lot of times we'll come up with these ideas. Maybe we see something on our vision board, but then it's like, well, I can't. I mean, that's how we ended up in South Carolina. One day, Jen's like, maybe we should move to Charleston. I was like, all right, I guess so. 6 months later, I mean, we're in a U-Haul with our dogs and the car and a trailer driving down to Charleston. I mean, sometimes you just have to step through that door that's opened up for you too.
It's always fun to answer to your friends when they're like, so where's she going to be working? She doesn't have a job yet. Well, where's she going to be living? She doesn't have a home yet. But wait, she's in Hawaii, right?
Hey,
Yes.
It only took me a month. I have it all figured out. I have the best apartment. I have the best roommate. I work with my best friend of like, I don't even know how many years at this point, like 20 something. So
yeah, it all works out.
Together.
So I have another question for you, Jay, and then we can go wherever we want to go here. But you have a vision board that, again, you created your life list, you print out the pictures, you put them up on here. I know a lot of people that we coach and we work with are like, yeah, I have my vision board. And they always go back to it's something that's on a computer or it's something that is a saved file somewhere. And I would love to know your opinion on what you feel works best.
Personally, I understand technology is a big thing nowadays. I feel very strongly about this. I don't like technology. I personally am not a fan of AI, not a fan of Zoom. I know we use Zoom a lot here, but I just don't like it because it's not like, same thing with like people interacting, like it's not face to face, like it's not the real thing. So if you don't have it sitting in front of you and you're just looking at it on a computer, like you look at so many things on a computer all day long, like so many things, and it's just gonna get mixed in with all those other things. But if it's something that's like standing out, that's like not like everything you look at all day long, like it's actually gonna stick out to you in your mind, I feel like. And it's just like it can get lost. I don't know, things on computers get lost.
I think the files just get closed and all of a sudden you got to go open it up.
In a file. That's no.
Well, just like my vision board, I've had it up all year. Restarted my computer at one point and just forgot to open it back up onto my backdrop here. And
okay, the backdrop idea though isn't bad. That's pretty good. But I feel like most people aren't going to do that. They're just going to put it in like little thing.
How many tabs people champion themselves or how many Chrome tabs they have open, right? And it's like that's going to cover
I never
up
see my backdrop on my computer.
All that stuff. I actually found my old bulletin board as I was cleaning stuff out over the last few weeks. And I had several years ago done exactly what you did, Jocelyn, printed out the pictures, cut all the things out and pinned them onto this board. And I was like, I'm going to reuse that. I may not reuse that exact board because it's a little little old and doesn't fit with the decor, so to speak. But I was like, I'm going to go back to the printing and pinning things up because it just guarantees that you will see it. You don't have to worry about if there's a power outage. Oh gosh, can't look at my vision board. I know some people use their lock screen on their phone too, which I think is great. And you can even maybe just rotate pictures in on that. But having that one physical board, I think is a great, great tool. You can even have Canva printed out if you do create on Canva. Just hit the print button and then they'll send you, a canvas that you can hang up with ease.
And if you don't have a printer, what we used to do was magazines.
Yeah.
We used to not print them out. We would cut out magazines and
for those of you who don't know, a magazine is an actual like physical, pamphlet of papers that are bound together, and they have like advertisements and stories and things inside of them. It's like a book, but it's a different type of paper. That's what you could probably go to your local CVS and find one.
I was trying to explain to my son the other day, we were standing in the grocery store and I'm like, there used to be an entire aisle of the grocery store that was dedicated to magazines.
Oh yeah.
Just don't see it anymore. I remember
the next issue to release.
Motocross and car magazines. I just went to that section. That was my little kind of go-to there. But I think also when you get in the habit of cutting it out and pinning it up and having it in your world, there is a psychological we talk about your learning modalities of visual, auditory, kinesthetic. You bring in more of your learning modalities and bringing it more to life, making it more real, designing it yourself. I think it just brings it to a whole different level when you get a chance to do that. And more often than not, I have found people when they create the digital side of it, I don't really ever have them want to brag about their wins of their vision board when it's digital. I find more so when they're tangible and they're printed off and they're on the walls. Those are the ones that typically we had the end of the year, like, let me tell you about my vision board and what happened. It just works. And part of me is like, when you know that something works that well, like, don't try to change it up too much. Don't try to use too much technology. Justin, you're saying you don't like technology. I think you can lose a lot of the power in there. So I don't know. Again, coming out of this season, Matt, it was just the best conversation that I was overhearing and being a part of with Jocelyn about this vision board and watching what she's created this year and where she's going right now to tie it all back into the vision board. I was like, we got to talk about this, dude. Like, we got to let people know, like, it's not just a fun vision board exercise that you should do every year. Like, you should take it serious. You can make some pretty cool stuff happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, which is really cool. Well, Jocelyn, any other advice you'd have for people who are now going to sit down and work on maybe their first vision board?
I don't really know. I feel like, I don't know, just don't think too hard. I really think that that's so important. Just don't put like all of your thought into it. Just kind of, if you think it's cool, put it on the board. Even if you think it's like stupid and it may not happen, put it on the board.
I think the stop thinking, Jocelyn, is one of the best tips.
And this is coming from someone who can't stop thinking. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. I can never stop thinking. But like, and there's even stuff on there that like hasn't happened yet, but like it's all of it got worked on in a weird way this year. So
I love that you said you can't stop thinking, because I think so many people that are in our industry, Matt, can't stop thinking. And then this goes back to if your brain's going to run at that level, give it direction. Give it something to focus on. Give it some pathway at least to go, like, at least I have something I'm looking for out there right now, rather than just running in 1,000 different directions. So, Jay, I want to say thank you. I'm so happy you got to come on this with me and be part of this.
Aww.
Thank you for having me.
I love this kid. So
thank you, Jocelyn. So appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. It's good to see you too, because I've only gotten to see you in person a handful of times because now we live even more than 3,000 miles away.
Now we live like 6,000 miles.
Yeah, it's a lot more miles now. I could almost go the other direction around the world too. And
yep.
Probably not. That'd probably still
You're
take
closer to
pretty long.
Europe than you are to me.
we got to go drive.
Yeah,
we got to go drive BMWs together. We got to go do driving school together.
That's true. I didn't. I didn't have my license.
Oh, that's sorry. Sorry for bringing that up, Jay.
I got to watch.
It's okay. There's going to be plenty more opportunities to do those things. Just throw it on your vision board.
Well,
put it on there.
Well,
Yeah.
Matt, thanks for being open to doing this. I'm so grateful because Jocelyn's getting on a plane tomorrow, and I was like, we got limited time, man, if we're gonna make this work.
I'm so excited we got to do this. This is a very important topic, and it's funny because we hadn't talked about doing a vision board episode this year, and we've done vision board episodes before. And probably the reason why we hadn't is because we were waiting for this moment to happen, and so I appreciate you guys for this, and Jocelyn for coming on and sharing. This is awesome.
Of
Well-
course.
Well, for anybody paying attention out there, if you want to go check out more of what we got going on at Life at 1010s, come check us out, lifeat1010s.com. And we still have business planning up. If any of you don't have your business plan up for the year, don't have that created, jump in there. We talk about vision boards and creating your life and creating your world that you want to have in front of you as you go through business planning. It's not just about the business. And Matt, with that being said, man, thanks so much. I appreciate you. And any listeners out there who want to see what my daughter looks like, go check us out on YouTube. We're going to be on there. Go and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously when you get a chance to like and subscribe to the episodes or to our channel. And we'll have a copy of her board up, at least pieces of it probably as we go through this, or we'll have one up in the notes. And Matt, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody out there. Love doing it. We'll be back soon.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.